Yeah. Ah, this is a Judas reading. This is something from about the year 2003, summer, I suppose. Last class I took to finish my coursework in my field. Well, they needed me to take some kind of class on government. That's the thing that they'll be getting rid of in universities before long, is political science classes, because they don't really want anybody to know how it works. But they used to make us know it so we didn't fall down a fucking staircase to hell. Mm. But I come across this writing, it was something for a class. At the same time that I was taking this class, I was working as a parking lot striping guy, and I'd be covered in fucking paint. Showing up to class off the light rail with all these pretty people. But while I was on the light rail, even though I had the book to read, the government textbook thing that a former federal worker was teaching, and he was so full of sunshine and bullshit, he was pretty happy with telling the way it worked, but he seemed to not be totally in line with what I thought the reality was at the time, because on the light rail on the way to class, I would read a book from Phil Fisk's class, Radical Thought in America, before he got fired from Michigan State. I was at Michigan State too. That's where I did out of my undergraduate work. He had assigned us to read this book, and many years later, the way I do, I keep all these books. Even if I don't read the book in the class, I read it afterwards because I do find it interesting. I just don't like being told what to do, so I wait. That's how it amounts, I suppose. And I was reading Jerry Afrasia's book. It's like the framers of the Constitution, and it's something about that. It's about the Constitution and the real way things worked. And so I was here between some guy that was sunshine and bullshit, and on the ride there, I was listening to a guy that's just blatantly putting out all the bullshit that we lived through. And so I was like, I was not bright eyed when I was in that class the way other people were around me, because they were like, this guy works for the government. I'm like, he's part of the fucking problem. But so about 2003, I wrote this, and I'm probably not going to have much to say about it when I'm done talking about this, but I want you to know how I felt back then, whether I'm right or wrong, whether my ideas have changed. And it starts out with steady state. This is a paper I think I wrote for the guy and made him read. That poor guy, he had to see all kinds of things he didn't agree with, and he had to try to grade them with an unbiased notion. Like, okay, how does he feel about this? Is that right? Is it wrong? It's just this sort of thing. No Child Left Behind. They don't want to fail a kid because it makes them look like a bad teacher. So they let you slide. Steady State. Who the hell was this John Moore character anyway? I hope the selfish bastard didn't expect something for a wasted organ that even his own body was unwilling to put forth the efforts to take care of. The damn thing was threatening to kill him, and he wants something for it? Screw him. That's all. I changed because I decided I wasn't going to put that in the paper, the screw him part, but I might as well say it. Threatening to kill him and he wants something for it? Screw him. He was already rewarded by having his life prolonged. If anything, his family should be the people getting paid simply for having to deal with this jerk any longer than they had already. You should probably understand I'm very much against overpopulation, knowing that that's the biggest problem we have to face in this world, and that when they talk about money and greed being the root of all evil, no, it's overpopulation. Humanity is the root of all evil. We just keep filling it up, and then we complain about how we can't keep everybody fed and things like that. It's a ruse. What a maroon. The doctors and researchers take what is essentially human waste that would be pitched in the dumpster with the fetuses anyway, and they use it to enhance the quality of life. And suddenly it becomes an ethical issue? Ah, what the hell is that? I say we should be farming fetuses for research. I'd donate sperm for the fields. I'd even drive the tractor at harvest. Where was I? Oh, political aspects and their relevance toward such decisions about royalties. In many cases, I'm guessing the politicians would bottleneck at the onset by bitching about the whole idea of using the organs and carrion for research simply out of fear or belief in religion, which is already a farce since there's supposed to be separation between church and state. They'll waste years arguing over that issue before they ever get to the question I'm supposed to be answering, which they're not qualified to address, in my opinion, since they only seem interested in monetary manners if they'll be getting some of it. Throw in some lobbyists, though, and I open that they become awfully opinionated, awfully quick. And we can't count on a minority rule from society to be credible, educated, or unbiased. So many people want something for nothing. They're so concerned with the me that they forget about the métayage. I have to explain this to you. Métayage, mariage. I think when I looked it up back then, they pronounced it wrong. Meta would be the right way. And yaj. It's not fudge. It, it's defined, métayage, as being French cultivation of land for a portion of the produce, uh, such as between owner and tenant. They're so concerned with the me that they forget about the métayage. Métayage. They want to take from you. They want to take from your fields. And they want to keep you working. So they'll say you didn't give enough for what they took, and they'll keep you working. They'll just keep you working. Not in your job. They'll put you wherever they want you to be. You can say all day long, I'll be all right. I'll figure it out. But as soon as you start to do that, they're gonna change your job. They don't want you to feel good about yourself. They want you to feel good about being a part of them. Not only that, but most people get their information from the media, which cannot be trusted. They pick their favorite talking head and follow them like they're trailing Christ. After the crash compound burned, I read in the New York Times a quote from FBI Director Janet Reno stating that they suspected something like that might happen and that they decided to push on with the operation nevertheless. That night, Tom Brokaw stated as a fact that there was no way the FBI could have ever foreseen this tragic consequence. He didn't bother to mention that that is only being his opinion. He didn't bother to research what was only an idea of his when the research involved would only have entailed the reading of the first paragraph of a front page story on a major newspaper distributed worldwide. 30 seconds of his time. And there the people sit in their living rooms, sifting through their own stupidity and a box of Crunch and Munch, believing him because he looked like such a nice guy. You see? You like to comment and say that I'm all tweaked out on something. I guess you don't know what tweaking is, if you're going to say that about me. Do you see? The times haven't changed. They've only become more dangerous.